Hello students, let's read the problem. And it says, there are 46 giraffes in San Antonio Zoo. The population increases at a rate of 8% each year. The function y equals 46 parentheses 1.08 to the x power can be used to determine y, the number of giraffes at the zoo after x years. What is the domain and range that represents this situation? Okay, so we're looking for two things, right? We're looking for domain and range, okay? So before we go to the problem and everything, I want you to tell me who is domain, and of course, in terms of the word problem as well, right? Because we all know that domain has to do with x values. Very good. For those of you who thought about that. But according to the problem, I want you to tell me who will be X in reference to the problem that we're reading. We're talking about giraffes, we're talking about number of years, and so on, right? So domain will be what? Well, if you look carefully in the problem, they're already telling you that X is the number of years, right? Therefore, domain is also going to be the years. Very good. Okay, we can say the number of years. Okay, so what about range then? So now let's go back and think about range. Well, range, we know that it has to do with the y values, right? And if you go back to the problem, what does it say about range? Well, it says determine y, the number of giraffes at the zoo, right? So the y value is going to be the number of giraffes at the zoo after so many years, right? Okay, so now that we know who's domain and range, right, now we can decide how we can interpret the problem. So it says that how many giraffes are in the zoo at the beginning? 46, right? That's how many they start with. Okay, so 46 will be with who? With domain or with range? With range, right? Because that's the one that has to do with giraffe. So this will be, they start with 46. And what's going to happen after that? Are they decreasing or increasing? They are increasing, right? So I know that my range is going to be greater than 46, right? Okay, but it could also be 46. Okay, so keep that in mind. And they do have an equation for us. And the equation is y equals 46 1.08 to the x power, right? So this is how many they start with, and which we already have. Is that right? So what about the domain then? If domain has to do with the years, what would be the smallest number? When you start something, that means no year had passed by, right? It's just like you beginning. So domain is gonna be start with 0. Very good. That means 0 years, right? Okay, so let's look at the answer choices. Maybe this can give us an idea already what to look for. Letter A, it says all real numbers less than or equals to 46. No, 46 goes with a range, right? So A cannot be an answer because of that and because it's domain. Is that right? Let's look at letter B. It says all real numbers greater than or equals to 0. Yeah, that's pretty much what we're looking for, right? Domain being greater than or equals to 0. What about range? It says all real numbers greater than or equals to 46. And yes, that's what I'm looking for too, because we start with 46, right? So there has to be greater, but it can also be equals to, because that's how much you start with. So it looks like B is the answer. What about C? It says all real numbers greater than or equals to 1.06. That's the rate of change, right? So no, that has nothing to do with the number of years. And letter D, it's all real numbers. Well, all real numbers is a little bit too much, because real numbers includes what? Negative numbers, right? And the years cannot be negatives. And not only that, but look at range. It says all real numbers greater than or equals to 0. No, we know that they start with 46 giraffes, right? So that cannot be my answer. So the answer for this, it is going to be B. Very good.